Justice now. Justice now.
Justice now. Well, hello, and welcome to another broadcast of Obstruction to Justice. And you know the format and plan. What we do, we talk about current events, relevant topics of the day, and of course, my favorite, business. And today we're going to be talking with Casey's own Marcus Stewart. Hello, Marcus.
Good evening, Ed. How are
Welcome
you doing?
to Obstruction to Justice. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, you've been in this industry that we're going to share that it's supplemental insurance. You've been in this industry for quite a while. 14 years.
That's
My goodness. So you are the expert, the SME, the top representative. You can explain all of what's going on or what goes on in the benefits of having supplemental insurance. Yeah, tell us about that journey. Tell us about that journey of how you got there and decided to hang in there with supplemental insurance.
Yeah, absolutely. 14 years ago, young, married, young family, and trying to come up with ways of really establishing a strong foundation, not only for myself, but for, at the time, 2 sons, now 4. To give myself, thank you. To put
Dad.
myself in a position where I can go out and be successful in corporate America, in the workplace, but still have that work-life balance and be home with the boys and my wife as well. So that's what kind of led me down this path. And, it's been a long journey, to say the least. A lot of ups and downs, seen a lot over the years, but it's definitely a passion of mine, right? It's the positive impact that we can have on people's lives that keeps me going.
That's what's up. I think that, insurance is, from what I've experienced personally and in talking with people. Now, back in the day, insurance was kind of like the forefront of, I remember my grandmother, it's like, look, I got to make my insurance payment, right? If she didn't do much else, she was going to make sure that her insurance was paid up. Tell us about supplemental insurance. What is that?
Yeah, so it's almost easier to mention what it's not.
Okay.
So it's not major medical, right? It's not going to take care of the hospitals, the doctors, the ambulance. Major medical is going to make sure that they get paid. Supplemental really is there to enhance what you may already have in place.
Okay.
And one of the big things with supplemental insurance is most oftentimes it's going to take care of you, the policyholder. And it does so by direct cash payments. So whether you're sick, whether you're injured, depending on what policy you have, there's going to be cash benefits available to you to use as you see fit.
Oh, and now you're tickling my ears with that, because the challenges that we've experienced here recently, with the pandemic and things like that, how would having supplemental insurance, how would that help a person, especially during these times?
Yeah, so something that I know many people can relate to, especially over the past 18 months, that loss of income. If they were diagnosed with COVID or anything else for that matter, where are those funds going to come from? So supplemental insurance for a lot of folks that I've helped out over the past 18 months really kicked in by way of a short-term disability plan, hospitalization plan that would, again, pay out cash benefits. So for a lot of those people who weren't able to work, they were still able to pay their mortgage, their rent, their car notes, keep food on the table, keep the lights on. So that's the idea behind supplemental insurance and what I've seen over the past year plus.
Cool. Yeah. Now that you said something right there. So this benefit it also, I mean, it's a cash benefit to where you can use the finances any way that you see fit, right?
Right.
Now that kind of sounds, well, I guess it kind of sounds too good to be true in a way, right? So, how would a person get or participate in something like this
Sure.
and having this type of option
Yeah.
for them?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Typically, the way you're going to come across this is by way of an employer benefit.
Okay.
Typically, it's taken out of your paycheck. Now, you do have the option in some cases where you could purchase it direct. You can go on the website, you can reach out to an agent, and you are able to purchase it direct. However, there
Hmm.
may be some limitations. You may
Hmm.
not have the full gambit of plans available to you. Rates are definitely going to be a little bit different.
Hmm.
But again, with respects to supplemental insurance, most people are going to get it by way of a payroll deduction from their employer.
Okay. Yeah. Now, when you're saying payroll deduction,
Mhm.
what 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 is it as far as that? Is it as expensive as, because we're looking at having medical insurance
Right.
benefit, all that. I mean, you're already having that taken out. I guess the short-term disability insurance, have that,
Sure.
or eye care, dental, and now here would be another insurance.
Right.
How much more or less? How is that as far as reasonable, the
Yeah.
pricing on something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing I want to make mention of is, as much as I believe in it, I
Hmm.
recognize it's not for everybody. So when
Okay.
you look at a policy, a supplemental policy,
Hmm.
you definitely have to understand where you're at. Have a firm grasp on your finances. I tell all my policyholders it has to make sense for you.
Hmm.
So with that being said, as far as cost, I feel it's very affordable. In most cases, again, depending on what plan you look at, because they will vary, you can spend as little as $4 a week on up to about $15, $16 a week. There's a few different variables there, but again,
Hmm.
it's very affordable.
That is very affordable. I mean, because you're looking at $4 a week, you're going to spend that. What,
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
know, $15 a week. That's
Right.
one lunch or whatever. But to be able to cover and have some insurance,
Exactly.
with that, I think that's very affordable. I thought you're going to be saying, what is it, shoot, like medical insurance? What are we spending? What am I spending on medical? And it's ridiculous. What have I spent on medical insurance before? But yeah, you're looking at something that is very reasonable. And, I don't think a person would miss it. I don't even think a family would miss it.
Not at all. In
Not.
most cases, the question is,
Hmm.
let's say, for example, and you're looking at a plan that's $8 a week.
Hmm.
Typically, what does that $8 represent for you? I know for me, if I stop at the gas station, that's a couple of energy drinks.
Hmm.
My
Yeah.
wife wants a bottle of water. There's my $8 right there.
Hmm.
So we're going to spend that $8 anyway. Why not allocate just some of it and transfer that risk and protect ourselves financially?
Hmm. And I think that's a choice that when you're looking at, especially if you have a family like yourself,
Mhm.
right? Now, for a single person, how important would that be to a single person? But if you look at it, where being a single person,
Mhm.
right? If I'm not working, then where's the income coming in,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So.
We're all exposed to risk. So whether
Mhm.
you're single, in a relationship, have a family, the one thing to understand is all insurance is simply a transfer of risk.
Mhm.
Again, you're single, you still have expenses, you're still exposed to risk. So the importance of protecting yourself against that is
Mhm.
paramount, in my opinion.
Yeah, because then having the supplemental insurance would help where you wouldn't have to get into your savings account.
Exactly.
It would help along in that. I think that this roller coaster ride, it is lasted so long for some to where they've just depleted their savings accounts, you
Absolutely.
know.
Absolutely.
uh, and of course being sick and having the COVID, or everybody's not able to help in the household. That's been a challenge. I know that it's helped. One of my friends, she was diagnosed, and she's married, but was diagnosed with having cancer, a bad disease, and had to handle it, had to get to the point to where she could get well.
Mhm.
Well, uh, her income was super important to the family.
Right.
So she had the supplemental insurance and was able to pull through and take her time to recuperate
Exactly.
and get well. And she's well now today,
Good.
thank God. But the when you're looking at a financial, I think, portfolio,
Mhm.
uh, it's also insurance should be part of what you're looking at as far as financial security and financial planning. And I think that people kind of overlook what the supplemental insurances could do for you
Right.
and everything. So yeah, this is super. Now the sales approach.
Mm.
Now everybody's not on board. It's like what's the demographic makeup and of the people that you get a chance to talk with and support. But then what's the response? What do you do when you're talking with people? How do you talk with them to help them understand that this would be a really good thing to have?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
The approach, I like to make it relatable to everybody. You try to find that common ground with most people, if not all, right?
Hmm.
But with that, people tend to relate to experiences. So when I'm out and about, I have the luxury, and I consider it a luxury, where
Hmm.
I get to go to corporations, businesses, local, um, statewide, you name it. So I get to deal with a decision maker, but in turn, they kind of open the gates, and I get to deal with all the employees, which is
Mm.
amazing.
Okay.
Because in that, you meet so many different people, and
Hmm.
you just hear the stories. And as a salesperson, as an agent, you grow. You hear these stories. Again, when I speak of making things relatable,
Hmm.
that's how you accomplish that. What happened? How did it affect you? What if you had a plan like this? What would it have meant to you and your family? So
Hmm.
my approach is I'm laid back. I like to talk, very conversational.
Hmm.
But again, I like to make it relatable because these are things that we've all experienced at some point in time.
Hmm.
We can look back to when we may have been rushed to the ER, or we had a knee injury, or we threw our back out doing yard work. We all have stories. Uh,
Yeah.
and that's where it makes it personal. That's where we can begin to find common ground, and in most cases come to agreeable terms.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, super. That to make it relatable, I think that that's really the one of the keys to in sales. This is part of business. I don't want to people when we're talking about business and opportunities, there's the whole gamut of what the whole process of what you do to get your service or product in people's faces to where they can take advantage of it and know about it. It's like I remember a gentleman one time was saying that he had business cards because that was a way for him to market, but he had gotten so in his sales and in his level of success to where he no longer needed them.
Right.
Well, the thing about the business card is a way to where you're going to get your foot in the door and you're going to talk to people
Right.
and then get to the point in your sales of success or wherever you're going with this to where you don't need them. But here, what you were saying is that you go and talk with companies. So you look for the decision makers
Right.
that can help, it can relate, and it's probably maybe part of their jobs
Mhm.
too, right?
Right.
And then from there you're able to speak with employees and then listen to the stories, and stories kind of make the decision for us, don't they?
Oh, absolutely,
Right?
hands down.
Yeah.
No.
They definitely make the decision for us when we hear what has happened to people,
Right.
and what how it has benefited them.
Mhm.
Then it definitely does. So when you're advising,
Mhm.
what is it, what percentage, and you look at a person and you talk with them, my guess, this is just me guessing,
Sure, sure.
you're advising them and you're saying, okay, well, what are your goals, for what is are you going to, how much, is that the question, how much supplemental, and what's your income like, and to kind of advise on
Mhm.
based on what they would need to supplement, how much they would need to supplement.
Typically, I look at two things.
Mhm.
Um, Income plays a factor when we look at short-term disability, absolutely.
Okay.
But the things that I look at most are your lifestyle and family history. So with
Mm.
supplemental, and one of the reasons why it's so affordable, unlike major medical is going to dump everything at you, right? They're going to
Mhm.
say, hey, we're going to cover you from A to Z. You're going to be responsible for your portion. That's major medical. But with supplemental, we can really break these plans down and treat them a little more a la carte. So, for example, you made mention of a friend of yours who had cancer.
Mhm.
I'd be willing to guess, I could be wrong, but she probably had either a cancer plan or the short-term disability. So, where I'm going with this is
Mhm.
supplemental plans can get really narrow, really focused in what
Okay.
it's going to cover. So, again, when I ask about lifestyle or family history, hey, do you have a family history of cancer? Does heart
Mm.
disease run in the family? Are
Mhm.
you an athlete? Do you play in rec leagues? Do you play, any sports? Because that's going to give me a good idea of what plans may make sense for them. But again, ultimately, they're the ones who need to let me know if it makes sense.
Mhm.
So I can
Yeah.
only guide them. I can only let them know, what I have and how it would affect them, how it would protect them, rather. And again, ultimately, they have to tell me if they agree and if it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. That, and supplement it, that's kind of how would I know? I can hear the stories, but
Mhm.
then I'm kind of an analyst at heart
Sure.
anyway. So how would I look at, what would it be that I would need to consider, in my life?
Mhm.
Why, how do I know I would need it, right? The
Yeah.
supplemental insurance. So lifestyle, cool. You would confirm that, or kind of have a person take a look at that if they're a daredevil.
Exactly.
Yeah, Evil and Evil, that kinda dates me,
Right.
that's brother way back. But
Right.
yeah, a race car driver, all kinds of things like that. But yeah, definitely the lifestyle, sportsman,
Mhm.
things like that, and then family history.
Right.
So, like with uh, some types of insurance, they don't accept pre what is
Pre-existing.
pre-existing
Right.
conditions,
Right.
yeah, and they kind of, price you based
Mhm.
on all, there's all different life insurance is all different ways to
Right.
where they price you.
Right.
But still, even at $15 a week,
Mhm.
and that you have a family history, unfortunately, people are in your family would have a cancer, or your lifestyle says, look, I'm a stunt person, or maybe not even that. What other? What about IT person or postman? You're walking and having to get around and everything, and that can be kind of, when you're going from house to house, being a
Mhm.
postman, that can be challenging. I know that I there was a friend out here in, where, well, they we were she had joined the 2020 census, so she was
Sure.
working with the 2020 census,
Mhm.
and there's some stories. She works with the census every time it comes, around, and she was saying last census she worked and she got bit by a dog, you know
Absolutely. I'm
It's
good.
just
I could share some stories. We'd be here all night if I were to go into the stories that I've heard over the years. But
mhm.
you never
Mhm.
know. A lot of it is the uncertainty. A lot of it is the unknown. You
Mhm.
never really know what it's going to be. Is it going to
Mhm.
be an illness? Is it going to be an accident? Could be a dog bite. You never
Mhm.
really know.
Mhm. Mhm. For sure. So I like that the sales approach to
Mhm.
where you allow people to you ask the questions too, the lifestyle history questions, family history questions, but then with them kind of doing an analysis of where they are, what they've experienced, that kind of sells the service itself or the product itself.
Right.
Now, I just rave over 14 years uh, hanging in there being a responsible person. Not that there aren't a lot of responsible people in this world here, but I always when I see people doing positive things with their lives, I just my hat goes off to you. The You mentioned that you decided to get into this industry because you wanted that work life balance.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
And just share a little bit with how your day goes. Are you remote? Are you in office? How does your day go with that
No,
work life
no
balance?
2 days are alike.
No.
Especially given the pandemic.
Mhm.
But the neat thing about the company I represent is we've always worked remote. Um,
Mm.
we'll go
Mhm.
into the office for our regional meetings and whatnot, our trainings. But I've always had the ability to be out in the field. So, it used to be the case. I would walk in, cold call, and ask for the HR person or the
Mhm.
president of the company, and then try to work my way from there. But no, my day could vary. I can have a presentation one morning, and then later on in the afternoon, I have an enrollment elsewhere.
Mhm.
I could have a day where I'm just working claims, helping people get paid.
Mhm.
I could have a day where I am out in the field cold calling. Now, I prefer referrals
Yeah,
at this
referrals
stage in the game.
for
But
sure.
yeah, no 2 days are alike.
Mhm. Mhm. Now, with I've been remote for years too. My what I do, learning, training, consulting, and all of that. Uh, I've been remote, integrated technology. So the lifestyle of being remote. I was remote when being remote wasn't cool,
Right,
right?
right,
And so 14 years ago, I think you were in that same place too, but
right,
being remote wasn't cool. The concern was, okay, well, you're not going to be able to rub elbows with people. You're not going to be there during it, listening to different conversations.
right.
People won't see you enough and all of that. But I think that with your industry, that has not been a hindrance to you. It's kind of where you've been and the opportunity for you to be out. That's kind of what it calls for and
Absolutely.
everything.
Right.
Uh, so, for all those that would consider or looking for something that is remote and something that would provide that work balance, um, I would, yeah, definitely suggest getting it for 14 years. Get into an industry that will allow for you to do that.
Right.
Just speaking highly of what your priorities have been too, and then for the industry to allow for you to do that. It's kind of tough sometimes. People, well, I want to do it, but I can't because really years ago, I really wanted a work from home type of option.
Right.
That was my kids were younger, smaller, and everything. And it's like, what can I do? Work from home, and it wasn't too much. What a stamp, postage, envelopes, folding. All that's what you could do back then. You had to be
Right.
in the office,
Absolutely.
and oh, by the way, you had to have. Oh shoot! I was in the office when you couldn't wear slacks. Mostly you and this was CIT, you had to get all dressed up and everything because you were representing IT, right?
Right. Right.
But yeah, I was during that time and I've seen the evolution. So this remote this remote thing is now, I think it's going to be a norm as far as an option, and it's because of the technology that's available. It
Exactly.
is more acceptable too. But the technology's been around for a while too. You know,
Yes.
it's been around for a while. I don't know. It sometimes it takes a while for bosses and managers and industries to say, "Oh yeah, we could do this remotely." I think a lot of what this was about too was, look, you know, the management style maybe, where they have to see you, they want to make sure that you're being productive and all of that, and
That's right.
then maybe management ego, right? But guys, sales is where it's at. Sales is where it's at, I would say. And I think that if you're if you get the foundation of sales,
Mhm.
then you can also be more successful, or even have a salesperson, or value having a salesperson on your team even when you're a small business owner. I think that's really what gets small businesses, minority owned businesses, women owned business, just small businesses in general. I think that that really is the disadvantage that small businesses have, is that they have the knowledge of what to do and how to do it, but then you still have to sell it.
Exactly.
You gotta sell it. You gotta make it and put it in the people's faces and get out there and hand out those business cards
That's right.
until you make it happen. Kudos for the 14 years. Now, um, as far as I want to share, I'm a big I show here. I want to share your LinkedIn page
Sure.
so that people can see your LinkedIn page here. So this is a cool LinkedIn page, guys. Uh, I see your background there and everything, but this, when you go out and you want to check out Marcus on his LinkedIn page, I call him KC's Marcus Stewart, because there's a couple of others out there too. But it's the Marcus Stewart that's in the Kansas City metropolitan area, and of course it shares some information about what he does there too, and who he represents, which is, you know, a good company, I believe, most definitely. So you can check him out on LinkedIn. And before we get too much at the end here, too, we'll mention it again. But the phone number where they can contact and get in touch with you as well, 816 214 4945. That's 816 214 4945. And I think you mentioned too, where you're able to do presentations.
Mhm.
So if they would contact you, how would that work? So say for instance you have you know, medium-sized company, and
Mm.
there's a lot of new companies popping up too.
There are.
A lot of new companies
That's right.
popping up. So I think that one thing that it kind of got me excited about being able to talk with you is that it, you know, this supplemental insurance, it provides the financial protection
Mhm.
for employees, you know,
Correct.
and their families. So what if someone, company or company representative, wanted to get in contact with you and get you in there to talk with them? You know, even with COVID, you know, the pandemic and all of that, even with that, you can there's still some people that are going in, and how are you handling that meeting? What can they do to get you in there? What can
Yeah.
they expect?
So they can reach out to me via the LinkedIn page. My email is on there, and I have a link through Calendly, so they can schedule a time to meet with me. Uh,
Okay.
that meeting is, it's pretty, much like what we did tonight. It's conversational in nature. It's me finding out a little bit more about the company and how I can be of service.
Mhm.
For a lot of companies, there are a ton of benefits in adding a plan, a supplemental plan. Um, so yeah, that conversation is really laid back, and it's more so, hey, where are the gaps? How can I help you?
Mhm.
And then from that point, if they see the value in it, then we open it up to the employees. And I can meet with employees in a group setting. I can meet with them one on one. A lot of that is just determined by the decision maker, whether it's the HR contact or
Mhm.
the owner of the company. So it's a fairly easy process. Um, I think we do a lot to really enhance what a lot of companies are already doing.
Okay. All right. And yes, and those who are not familiar with Calendly, so if you do a search for and I'll go ahead and post Marcus's LinkedIn page. We'll update the YouTube channels and Facebook channels with the content, or the LinkedIn page. But Calendly is super cool in that all you have to do is click on that, and it shows the available times where you can actually meet and chat. So it'll notify Marcus, and then you can just schedule that time right through Calendly to speak with them about the supplemental insurance and the options that he has. And of course, you definitely want to get him in front of your people. You want to get him in front of them because he's the expert. I'm still blown away. 14 years.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Forgive
blown
me, I had to
away
plug
on
my
that.
phone in. The battery drained pretty quick on me there, but yeah,
Okay.
14. It's been one heck of a ride, and you know what? I'm looking forward to 14 more.
Yeah, yeah. Now, the supplemental insurance enhances what's in place, and you kind of have to think about it like that, right?
Mhm.
So what else about what's the most popular uh, sales option, or what's the most popular plan that you see people taking advantage of? So maybe I can't do the $15 one, but what is it that I can do to kind of work my way up
Right.
to, yeah, meet that expectation based on my lifestyle and
Right.
family history there?
The two that I see most, and if I were to pull up, my sales record, it's probably split down the middle
Mhm.
between short term disability and our accidental plan.
Okay.
Accidents can happen to anybody.
Mhm.
The accidents do not discriminate. So I
Mhm.
see those two the most. Those two happen to be two of the most affordable as well, but they tend to offer the most impact.
Okay. Okay. And that's what's important, because when you hear accidental plan, what is it that the accidents do happen, but
Right.
what kind of accident has to happen?
Sure.
I think the worst thing about insurance is that you'll get it, and then you're in the call.
Right.
I'm hurt. And I need. You try to file a claim, and it's like, oh well, ma'am, we don't cover that.
Right.
I'm like, and it's like, what am I doing? I've spent all this money, or I spent money on it, and they don't even cover it,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I'm sure you make that clear about what's covered.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we make it very clear. We go
Mm-hmm.
through examples. With respects to the accident plan, I like to kind of portray it as, what's an accident? It's
Mm-hmm.
anything that you don't intend to do to yourself. There's bodily harm of sorts.
Okay.
So anything from a sprained ankle, well, that's an accident.
Mm-hmm.
A chipped tooth,
Mm.
an accident.
Mm-hmm.
Our plan even goes so far as to say, hey, poison ivy, that's an accident.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And poison ivy will lay some people up to where they're I I get it so bad to where I get fevers, and I've had to have to get medication to get rid
It's
of it.
it can
That's
be pretty nasty. Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely not cool to get.
Right.
And well, that's interesting to know too, because that's kind of what you're looking at. Well, what's covered, and you're needing, and you're just kind of wondering whether or not they cover it or not. That's
Right.
good to know
Right.
that those plans are as detailed as that. Definitely. All right. So we talked about your sales approach and how you handle clients, and of course they can definitely get in contact with you and schedule a time, go through Calendly to schedule a time, contact you through the phone number, 816-214-4945. Ask for Marcus Stewart that way. You can go out to, of course, going out to the LinkedIn will get you the Calendly, and you can log into LinkedIn for all the LinkedIn users. Now, if you're a business, guys, look, you should probably have a LinkedIn page if you're in business, or if you're in management, or if you're just a person that just wants people to know that you're out there and you're just moving and shaking in what you do,
Right.
the position that you have. I think that it's a great networking tool to have. So, might not be a bad idea to get a LinkedIn. LinkedIn isn't paying us or anything. We're just saying,
Right.
might not be a bad idea to have. And the work life balance is super important. I think you shared with that and what your day looks like. And remote options are they're norm now. It's having a remote option will help you. Now, the cons of having a remote office. I knew I was getting somewhere.
There's a few. That bed tends to be pretty warm and comfortable in the morning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Waking up in the morning
Right.
and being able to get going. Now,
Right.
I kind of give myself a timeline window, right?
Okay.
So what I'll do, I know that because there's things that I have to do in the morning already. I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning
Okay.
most mornings, 4:30, and because there's things that I do that I have to get done in that time frame, and then of course I'd like to walk,
Okay.
right? I want to get out because I'm behind a desk for the rest of the day, right?
Right.
So I like to walk. I'll try to get my walk in best I can, or jump up and down in front of the TV
Right.
and everything. But yeah, that discipline to stay focused. I will say this, guys. Get out of your chair. Get up and move at least once an hour, once an hour and a half, or whatever.
Right.
I have been notorious, and I used to brag about how I'm just hanging in there. I'm just
Mhm.
grinding. I'm just grinding. I'm hanging in there. No, get up, move, get out and get some sun. Mm, Get out and get some sun if you can. Take a quick walk around the block. Take your lunch, and take breaks. I think that that's important because we're talking about supplemental insurance. Well, and because accidents happen, well, certain things happen. High blood pressure and heart attacks. I have a friend that just was on the grind and just dropped dead behind their desk. I've had that. A friend that happened to one of my friends. So, get up, live,
Yes.
live and do all you can, eat healthy. Get I'm on my soapbox,
Go
right?
for it.
Because that right there, that eating healthy,
Mhm.
try a salad, try it. No, you're looking at a person that now what do we eat as far as I'm talking about my family,
Mhm.
we enjoy used to enjoy soul food,
Okay.
right? And but now it's fast food
Mhm.
more, right? Because people are
Right.
so busy.
Right.
Well, soul food wasn't all that bad. You had the cabbage, and you
Mhm.
have the greens, and you have the green beans, you have
Right.
those great vegetables,
Mhm.
you have the sweet potato pie. Okay, well, maybe
Yeah. Look, there's never a bad time for that now.
It's
There's
never a
never a
bad
bad time.
time. No. But I think the point when we're talking about accidents happening, sure, your supplemental insurance, it's there. You're going to go out and get it, but lifestyle changes
Yes.
are super important to keep us healthy. To keep us healthy, making sure you get away from the desk, drinking your water. Oh, that's another thing.
Oh,
Yeah, see, drinking your water.
that's right.
You don't want to get dehydrated because even though the supplemental insurance plans are there, and there's maybe one specifically, yes, he's, Mark Casey's Marcus Stewart shared with us, yes, that look, we have one for cancer, but you don't want to get it.
Right.
Mm, You don't want to get it. It's just there just in case you need it. It's not like you're donating. Insurance is insurance. It's like car insurance. You're not gonna, you're not planning to get in an accident, but you're not gonna go out there and drive bad because you have a rider on your insurance to where you can get a payout and kickback from the the one
Right.
of the riders.
Right.
That's not the objective here. So yeah, and then working remotely. Come on, guys. Let's do our best to you have an option, an opportunity to stay healthy or get healthy and maybe versatile times when you can get going, in between meetings, whatever. Just do something for yourself to stay healthy. I want to put that plug in there for sure. Fix that lifestyle and keep it going to where the supplemental insurance is there if you need it, right? For real accidents, not for ones that you've created because you think you're, a gung ho. I thought I was the gung ho sister. I was the corporate queen. I'm gonna stay here and get this work done and pulling all these hours and everything. But read a book. Relax,
Yes.
and when work is done, let it be done.
Yeah.
And I know you're on this one. uh Work life balance, huh? And enjoy your family. Oh,
Absolutely.
I will share. Look, we were trying to get you in last week, Brother Marcus, but it wasn't a good time. And when I spoke with you, what were you doing when we chatted? Huh?
Believe one of the boys, they were at football camp.
There you go.
So yeah, I was there with them for that, and
Mhm.
I had two other boys to pick up from work. So to have the ability to be there, to be present,
Yes.
to make the games, to pick them
Mhm.
up from work, pick them
Mhm.
up from school. Getting paid is amazing,
Mhm.
but those moments right there, that's what's most important to me. One of my favorite things that I like to share.
Mhm.
I have four boys, my youngest being 1 years old.
Mhm.
Um, I was there for each one of their first footsteps. You can't put a
Wow.
price on that.
No, you can't.
So that's the opportunity that was afforded to me. That's why I'm as passionate as I am. That's why I go as hard as I do.
Mhm.
Um, when I have grandkids, I want to be there for their first steps too.
Well, I do have grandkids. I'm the big mama.
There you go.
And every once in a while on some of these broadcasts, you'll hear I have a screamer in the background. She's a 2-year-old. She's a screamer now, but maybe she's a lawyer in the future
There you go.
or a politician in the
Right.
future. Someone that's going to help society. She's just using the gift during the wrong times. I was like, I'm like, oh, I hope they didn't hear that.
You're right.
Yeah, yeah. They hang out with me, and yes, and that's really what it's all about. It's about family. So I think kind of going full circle.
Mhm.
Another reason why a person may consider putting that in their financial portfolio, the supplemental insurance, is because it's for family, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Without that insurance, people would have be having to go into their savings if you have it. Of course, I think it's a wise thing, guys, to have that $1,200 set aside emergency fund.
Right.
for sure. But it's just an emergency fund. You really don't want to use it, and it will be there if you need it or whatever. But you don't want to use it. But that supplemental insurance is another way to say I love you to your family. It's a way to say, hey, even if I go down,
Uh-huh.
the ship is gonna keep moving. I might have to have a sling doing it,
Exactly.
but I got that supplemental insurance to help with that sling,
That's
and we're
right.
gonna we're gonna keep moving and make
Exactly.
make this happen. So I think
I'm gonna
that's
use that. I'm gonna use that during my next presentation.
okay. All right. Well, by all means, we're here to help each other on this, but I appreciate you for sure doing what you do. First, being that husband and that father. I appreciate that and being that responsible human being. That's something that I just want to give you big kudos up
Thank
to, and that dedication, 14 years hanging in there. It can't be easy. Look, no one's going to tell me that sales is going to be
you. Oh
easy,
no.
huh?
Oh no.
Talking to people and listening
I've
to the
fired myself many a times.
yeah. So I don't know. I remember a time during my years. It's like I actually gave up on IT for a while. I'm like, look, get away from me. I'm gonna go do something else because my brain just cannot handle it anymore. I'm done with it, and I did, but then it called me back.
It'll do that.
People will find you when they know that you can fix things. They'll chase you down the hall when they know
Right.
that you can fix things.
That'll happen.
So even with, I'm sure they would, if you didn't hang in there for the 14 years, it would find you. It would
Right.
find you, Brother Marcus. Yeah. And it's definitely a skill that I would encourage. If you don't, this is kind of off subject for, and I'm talking back to the business owners and new business owners. Value your sales team. Without the sales team, you would have no business. The purpose of business is to create customers, and you got to find them. And you have to have people like Casey's Marcus Stewart, how to be able to talk with them and
Right.
share and listen and have that expertise. So, value your sales team. If you had a budget to spend, and this is something that I know that really helps my team. If you have a budget and you need a person, make sure your budget is supporting your sales. Find a great salesperson and get out there where that's how you're going to make your business work
Right.
is in sales. Make sure that salesperson is on point, and of course, yes, set goals. Well, do whatever you want to do, but and the salesperson will show the numbers. It'll show the numbers for themselves. There's great sales tools out there, all kinds of things to help if you are alone. uh, I almost said lone drone. If you're if you're alone, and you're just a single business person running it as a consultant, yeah, whatever, then there are also sales tools out there to help you along in that. And of course, if there's oh, that's a good question. How big do you have to be to get that supplemental insurance? Now, I'm sure it's going to be cheaper if you are working with the company that where they have, a bulk rates or something.
Uh-huh.
But what about the consultant that wants to make sure that their financial stability is there and put in some supplemental insurance?
Yeah. So here's the beautiful thing about the company I represent.
Hmm.
Um, we're gonna rate by the industry. So not so much individual. We're rating the industry. So for example, there is a private school that I'm working with. They get the best rates possible. In fact, their rates better than mine as a
Oh,
representative of the company. Um,
okay.
but with that being said, the underwriting, if any, tends to be a little more lax. We're
Hmm.
looking at any major health events, any major illnesses. So with that being said, it's not very often that we turn people away.
Okay.
So again, it's rated by industry. Whatever rate you see today, it will forever be that rate. So
Oh,
unlike auto insurance, where if you're driving down headed to the plaza and you get pulled over, well, guess what?
yeah.
Your rate's going up.
Yeah.
Not the case with us. You can have an accident every day of the year. You're still going to pay that same rate. So it's affordable. We're transparent.
Mhm.
It's consistent. Um, it makes a lot of sense for a lot of people.
Mhm. Mhm. And that's super important to know too, because you do have a lot of consultants out there,
Mhm.
1099 contractors. That's another we hang out in that same type of circle. You don't have you're responsible for your own insurances and everything, taxes and everything. So yeah, so 1099 contractors,
Still
uh,
help.
go out there and contact KC's Marcus Stewart, and he will definitely get you going with some supplemental insurance. Well, I think we covered it quite a bit.
So
But Brother Marcus, if there's any new news coming up or any point you want to drive home, please come back and share with us.
we'll do. We'll do. I'd be honored. And thanks for having me tonight. It's been a blast. And thanks for all you do. I mean, through this platform, you're truly serving as a pillar in the community. There's
Well,
a lot of information that's coming from this platform, and people are learning. People are taking heed to the conversations, to the advice. So kudos to you as well.
well, thank you, sir. Thank you. Hang on for a minute. We're just going to go ahead and let people go. And again, I just want people to know that if you want to get in contact with Casey's Marcus Stewart, then definitely go ahead and you can contact him out there on the LinkedIn page. And that number again, 816-214-4945. If you're wanting to contact him directly at the office, you can definitely do that as well. And just to hang in there, this information was super cool. Think about that need there, and try to pad yourself best way you can. I'm saying put some pad in between calamity and you, and that kind of makes it a lot better for us to keep moving in that positive direction. And thanks for joining. And as I always say, if the Lord says the same, we'll see you next time.
Obstruction now. Obstruction to justice. Obstruction to justice. Obstruction to justice.
Justice now.